Welcome to Trendwire Daily. If you thought 2025 couldn't get crazier, think again. Because what just happened has already shaken Wall Street, global markets, and possibly your wallet. Let's dive into the live-breaking story of how Donald Trump just launched a historic global trade war with tariffs that could cost every American household over $2,100 a year. Well folks, buckle up because things just got real. As in, we're all screwed real. President Trump, in his infinite wisdom, has declared a national economic emergency. Now this isn't your run-of-the-mill, oh dear the economy is a bit sluggish kind of emergency. No, this time he's decided to slap a minimum 10% tariff on every single country that exports goods to the United States. Every single one. You might be thinking 10% isn't that bad, right? Wrong. First off, that's on top of existing tariffs. Second, if your country happens to have the audacity of having a trade deficit with America, well then, congratulations. You've just won yourself a special prize, even higher tariffs. And let's not forget the auto industry. Those poor souls are already feeling the burn of these new tariffs. Now you might be asking, why Donald, why? Why would you do this? Well, according to the stable genius himself, it's all about protecting American jobs and bringing back manufacturing. Because nothing says economic prosperity like making everything more expensive for everyone. This is like trying to put out a grease fire with gasoline. It's not going to end well. In fact, it's already causing chaos in the global markets. But hey, at least we're making America something again. Okay, so Trump just flushed the global economy down the toilet. Great. But how will this overflowing mess actually splatter back on you, the average, hard-working American? Let's just say it ain't pretty. According to those killjoy party poopers over at the Tax Foundation, these new tariffs are going to cost your average American household a cool $2,100 per year. That's right, folks. Get ready to kiss that vacation fund goodbye. And how are they getting to that lovely figure, you ask? Well, import taxes are about to skyrocket from a measly 2.5% to a whopping 19%. That's the highest it's been since the Great Depression, remember that? Yeah, good times. And don't even get me started on your after-tax income. That's expected to take a nosedive of 2.1%. So basically, everything's gonna cost more, and you're gonna have less money to buy it with. Now, I know what you're thinking, John, you beautiful, eloquent bastard. Surely there's someone out there who benefits from this economic dumpster fire. And you'd be right. If you're part of the 1%, congratulations. You might not even notice these price hikes. But for the rest of us, we're screwed. You know things are bad when even Canada is throwing punches. And let me tell you, our neighbors to the north are not messing around. Prime Minister Mark Carney, usually known for his calm demeanor and excellent hair, basically went full Wolverine and hit back with a 25% counter tariff on American vehicles that don't comply with the USMCA. We still see the US as a defense ally, Carney said in a tone that could curdle milk. But economically, we're done. The post-1-2 US-centered trade system is over. Ouch, that's gotta sting. It's like that moment in a buddy cop movie where the partners have a falling out, except instead of witty banter and explosions, we're getting crippling tariffs and economic uncertainty. And Canada isn't just talking a big game. They're already making moves to secure new trade deals with other countries. It seems like everyone's getting invited to this party, except the US. Remember those awkward family dinners where everyone pretends to be civil, but you can practically cut the tension with a knife? Well, imagine that, but on an international scale, with the fate of the free world hanging in the balance. That's what's going on at NATO headquarters right now. Secretary of State Marco Rubio hot-footed it to Brussels for some emergency meetings after Trump decided to grace our NATO allies with, you guessed it, more tariffs. Because nothing says strong alliance like slapping your friends with crippling economic sanctions. Finnish Foreign Minister Elina Valtonen, bless her heart, tried to put a positive spin on things, saying, the tariffs aren't the best news, you think, but expressed hope for fruitful negotiations. Fruitful negotiations? With Trump? Let's be real. The only thing fruitful about those meetings were the awkward fruit baskets they probably gave each other as gifts. The bottom line is, the mood at NATO is about as cheery as a funeral home. Even when they're smiling for the cameras, you can practically see the daggers in their eyes. Remember that scene in every disaster movie ever where the scientists are looking at a bunch of flashing red lights and screaming, "It's off the charts!" Yeah, that's basically Wall Street right now. The VIX, which is like the stock market's version of a panic attack, spiked 30% in one day. That's the biggest jump since the pandemic crash, which, if you'll recall, was no walk in the park. Analysts are running around like headless chickens, spouting phrases like policymaking equivalent to a suicide bomber and worse than the worst-case scenario. It's enough to make you want to pull your money out of the market and invest in canned goods and bottled water. But hey, at least we're not bored, right? Remember when Apple was worth more than the GDP of some small countries? Well, those days are over. Thanks to Trump's trade war, Apple lost nearly $300 billion in value in a single day. That's right, billion, with a B. To put that in perspective, that's like flushing a small country's worth of money down the toilet. And Apple's not alone. Tech giants like Amazon, Meta, and Google are also feeling the burn. Why? Because they all rely on manufacturing overseas, and now it costs a fortune to bring those products into the US. It's like trying to run a lemonade stand when the price of lemons just went up 1,000%. So yeah, things aren't looking so rosy in Silicon Valley right now. Remember that old saying, the enemy of my enemy is my friend? Well, it seems like the rest of the world is taking that to heart because new global alliances are popping up faster than mushrooms after a rain shower. Canada and Germany, those bastions of politeness and efficiency, are suddenly looking like best friends forever. Prime Minister Carney and Chancellor Scholz pledged to diversify trade ties, which is diplomatic speak for we're finding new friends to do business with. And it looks like Canada's got a lot of options. They're already chatting up Australia and the UK, and who knows who else is waiting in the wings. It's like watching the popular kids at school suddenly realize they don't need the class bully anymore. The US, meanwhile, is looking a lot like the kid who ate all the paste in kindergarten, alone, friendless, and covered in metaphorical glue. As if a global trade war wasn't enough, Trump's also got a full-blown legal shitstorm brewing back home. It seems our favorite president has been a little too trigger-happy with the Alien Enemies Act, using it to deport people left and right. Now, the DOJ is trying to claim they're not breaking any laws, but the judge in this case doesn't seem convinced. And to make matters worse, Vice President J.D. Vance, the guy who looks like he's about to star in a remake of The Omen, thinks this whole thing is going to end up in the Supreme Court. So yeah, on top of everything else, we've got a constitutional crisis brewing. Just another day ending in Y for America. Remember when your mom used to tell you, you made your bed, now you have to lie in it? Well, someone needs to remind the Republicans of that little gem, because the retail industry is currently experiencing a meltdown of epic proportions, and they're the ones who handed out the matches. Retailers like Restoration Hardware, Macy's, and Best Buy are all hemorrhaging money faster than a politician on a lobbyist-funded shopping spree. One CEO even uttered the immortal words, "Oh, *T" during a live earnings call. I'm not sure if that's better or worse than the time a different CEO blamed millennials for their company's failures. Meanwhile, GOP senators are busy performing Olympic-level mental gymnastics trying to justify this economic suicide mission. They're calling it a double-edged sword, claiming that there might be some long-term gain buried somewhere in this mountain of short-term pain. It's like saying, sure, your house is on fire right now, but at least you'll get to roast marshmallows later. So, here we are, folks, standing on the precipice of what can only be described as an economic clusterfuck of epic proportions. The question is, where do we go from here? Well, if history is any indication, more tariffs are probably on the way. Trump seems to think that trade wars are easy to win, which is about as accurate as saying you can cure a hangover with more tequila. Meanwhile, get ready for everything to get more expensive. From groceries to gas to that new iPhone you've been eyeing, the price of pretty much everything is about to skyrocket. And if that wasn't enough, global trade alliances are shifting faster than a game of Tetris on level 10. The US is rapidly becoming the isolated, grumpy old man of the international community, while everyone else is busy making new friends and forging new partnerships. The worst part? Economists are starting to whisper the R-word recession. And this time, it's not just a gentle dip in the economy, it could be a full-blown global meltdown. That's the full breakdown of Trump's tariff shockwave. Will this strengthen the US economy or send the world into chaos? Tell us in the comments, do you support Trump's global trade war, or is this a ticking time bomb? If you found this video helpful or eye-opening, smash that like button. And don't forget to subscribe to Trendwire Daily for the latest breaking news, hot takes, and wild moments that shape our world. Turn on notifications so you never miss a beat. Until next time, stay sharp, stay curious, and stay ahead.